kind of weird, right? I've never really done a YouTube live stream or anything like that. Never even tried it, but here it goes. My name is Mnyanadzi Chondegwa. Interesting fact is, I am half deaf. I can only speak. Strangely, yes, I can speak, but I can't even hear myself speak. So, because I'm clinically deaf, but I'm a coder. I'm a trained accountant. I have a degree in accounting. I have also an HND in accounting. And on the plus side, I've got an MBA. I am currently learning coding, rather software development with BYU University. BYU, it's a church-run university run by the Latter-day Saints. I am learning online. Interesting, really, learning online, especially if you're from a country like ours where data is expensive, internet is shoddy, and stuff. You learn to improve, you improvise. And I have really learned to improvise. But all in all, it hasn't been bad, learning coding and all. I actually have finished the first part, and I'm currently starting to get the second part, the second certificate, which is also an associate degree, in software development. Hopefully by September this year, I'll be done with the associate degree. I have been taking, three modules per semester, sometimes five when they look achievable. But this coming semester, I'm only taking two, one core course and one general education course, because I don't want to pile myself too much and fail to grasp what I really need to grasp. I have a feeling, that with the intro of AI and all, most of us might actually find our skills redundant if we do not infuse some technological knowledge, like, say, software development is in my case, or maybe computer repairs for others, and medical coding, whatever. Because I believe coding is the future. Coding is the future. We may try to run away from it, but we're in the information age, and in the information age, the computer is king. Knowing computer skills, having soft skills and stuff, that's the way to go. Because you can have all the technical skill, but look, with AI in the mix, it can basically automate everything that you currently know. One just needs to go on a computer or open AI, type a little bit of something, and boom, they suddenly have knowledge of what you know or what you think you know. So it becomes necessary, to know this stuff. It becomes necessary to know computers. And now, once you know computers or have computer skills, you then are employable, so to speak. You can try remote work, you can try entrepreneurship, do it all on your own, build websites and stuff, offer services. I want to infuse my skills in accounting with my software development, So I'll be able to create applications or maybe automate systems in such a manner that instead of relying on foreign built or imported, systems, we build homegrown systems that are for Zimbabweans, by Zimbabweans who understand the Zimbabwean system. Not the reason why we have got so much being told about Zimbabwe being poor and all. I think it's simply because we have failed to build systems that are pro-Zimbabwean. We have failed to come up with systems that are homegrown, systems that basically define Africa, define Zimbabwe, define SADC, Because, for example, we have got a rural economy in Zimbabwe. We have got an informal economy in Zimbabwe. And yet, these people do not sleep hungry, and yet these people are also defined as poor. Now, I'm thinking we could, if we had developed a system that is pro us, that is for us, we would have been able to overcome this definition of our people as poor, or definition of our countries as poor, or a third world or developing, because then we would have had systems that truly define who we are. You cannot have a farmer who grows his own food being described as poor. There's something wrong with that. He's not in debt. He grows his own food. He eats three meals a day. How is he poor? All of those 3 meals a day, he has all the nutrient contents. This man's family doesn't even get sick because they have got all the health ingredients they want in their food, and their food is organic. How is he described as poor? When he wants a chicken, he goes into his coop and kills a chicken. When he wants beef meat, he goes into his cat crawl and kills a cow. When he wants goat meat, he goes into his pen and kills a goat. When he wants pork, he goes into his pigsty and kills a pig. It eats. So these vegetables are fresh from the fields, not from the shop, not having been refrigerated or anything. He goes, picks them up, brings them into to the house, chops them up, cooks them. His food is basically organic. The only thing that maybe he buys is sugar and cooking oil. That is if he doesn't have an oil press where he has sunflowers, cotton seed, and groundnuts, and beans or whatever, which he squeezes, soya beans, which he squeezes and gets fresh cooking oil. So what am I saying? I'm learning so that I can come up with systems that we can apply to our own economies, because currently we have got a westernized view of everything. Even our education is westernized in view. It does not cater for the African child. I mean, in the Western world, these systems were created to create workers. You know why? These guys had industrialized, had reached a state where they were industrialized. And now they wanted workers for their industries. So they designed an educational system that creates, that funnels up, that mass produces workers. People who just listen to instruction, people who work by rota. No need for industrial dexterity. They had to be mass produced so that they can work. Now, they also brought this to Africa. And in the end, when we got our independence, before we had grown our economies, before we had become industrialized, what did we do? We mass produced educated people. And now we have a huge problem. A lot of educated people who basically can't get work because there is no industry to absorb them. But if we had industrialized first to a level whereby if we had produced entrepreneurs instead of workers, we would have had a demand for the workers. Then we would have mass produce. Then have go back to mass produce workers so that they can be absorbed by the as workers into the workforce. But we don't have that. So it goes back to what we have been taught. Now I want to infuse my accounting knowledge, my management of business knowledge, and my coding skills, my software development skills, develop, come up with something that is pro-African, that is for Zimbabwe, that is for us as a nation, without even exporting it across the borders or anything. Because, our economies are still very much within the primary industry sector. And we have not even grown up to a tertiary level, to a secondary level. Now, for us to even be thinking about going further. Now, look, yes, I'll give you an example of a village model, right? We have a farmer who produces vegetables. There's another farmer here who has got, let's say, goats or chickens or rabbits. Now, the farmer who produces vegetables needs a market, but the closest market that he has is the rabbit farmer who needs vegetables to feed his rabbits. Never mind buying pellets and stuff. No, no, no. We're talking about rabbits within the raw economy here, within the village economy, whereby the rabbits are fed from vegetables, from natural grass, vegetables, blah blah blah. No, the farmer who produces vegetables eats the vegetables, but those vegetables are also needed by the farmer who who produces rabbits, who raises rabbits. Now, the farmer who keeps rabbits goes to the farmer who produces vegetables. Now, what do? They exchange maybe a rabbit for 3, 4, 5 bags of vegetables to feed his rabbits, right? He also needs vegetables for his family to eat. Now, this farmer is either is going to eat the rabbit, who has been given the rabbit as payment for the bags of vegetables, is either going to eat the rabbit or keep the rabbit himself and also produce more. Now, these rabbits that have been fed vegetables, they're going to multiply. Boom, boom in rabbit production. What does he also need? He now needs extra vegetables or to spread his produce. He goes to the farmer who produces sunflowers, goes to the farmer who produces beans, goes to the farmer who produces this and that. Now, these farmers become a network where they exchange their goods and services to each other. What they have now, they have a market, which is that they have an economy within the village. Now, this economy has to be expanded. It goes to the next village because they are now looking for more vegetables to feed their rabbits. Now, next village, maybe they produce goats. Now, they exchange goats and rabbits and vegetables and goats. And the next thing, we have villages. Village here, village there, village here, village there. All this exchanging goods and services within the village. From the villages, we expand to a district. From the districts, we expand to province. From provinces, we go national. This is how we build our economy. Let's first produce enough for us, for our needs, and then we produce. We create, write our own systems that cater for us, for Africans, because this is what has been missing: the link. What makes us? If we can have something for us by us, then we'll start having something to speak about. We'll become something within the world. Because right now, Africa is defined by Anglophile standards, by Western standards, by European standards, standards which have nothing to do with the African systems, nothing which have to do with the African economy, nothing which have to do with us. So let's start thinking us. And I'm beginning to think us. I'm thinking solutions. I do not want to take us back to the Iron Age or anything, but I'm just thinking from where we are now, let's build the groundwork so that we can go forward and maybe catch up with the rest of the world. Because right now we won't catch up because we don't have any groundwork. We're trying to work at the top when there's no foundation. So we need a foundation. We'll build foundation. Let's build foundations. While we continue waking up there, let's also build what? Foundations. That's all that I'm saying.